Hello, today we are going to take these charm packs and we're going to make a falling charms quilt. We're not going to use a design wall. We're just going to sew these things together really fast. As you can see, I am still on vacation. I am in the sweatshop and I wanted to work on my charm square quilt. I found this adorable Christmas collection. It was probably last year, and I want to get it into a quilt. So I thought, you know what? I'm here. I'm just going to have a little fun. I'm going to start, I think I'm going to sew the rows this way. So I have to figure out how many charm squares I want across. I believe there are approximately 42 in each. So 4 times 3 is 126. That's probably not right because, you know, it's April math. But, so if I did 10 across, 10 and 5 is 50. So maybe 12 across and 14 down. Now I can't do 12 and 14, but 12 by 12 is 144. I have no idea why I remember that. So that won't work. So maybe 11. 11 and 11 is 122. 1, 2. You know what? I'm going to do 10 by 12. That's 120. And then I'm going to go to a fabric store while I am here. And I bet I can find a border that will work. And even if I don't, I'm pretty sure, actually, I have one in my mind that I have at home that would be the perfect border. So there you go. 120 squares, 10 across, 12 down. And I'm going to sew the verticals up and down. I'm going to sew the horizontal rows and just willy-nilly see what happens. So join me. What I've done is I have made stacks, and these are representative of each row. So my first row is all white, and my second row is all white. So those were easier to put together. Now my third row has a couple, actually I think it just has the one white fabric in addition to the all white. And then my next row will have more of the white fabric background. So there's white like this, and then there are the other colorways. And what I want it to do is just like the other falling charms, I want it to be white up top and then slowly get a little less white. And then the red and green will all be at the bottom. So this is row number 4. And then row number 5 has a whole lot of the print, but with the white background. And then as we go further, I've got the white mixed in with the red and the green. Well, no green in that one, but I think you get the idea. So I've just set stacks. The first thing I did is I sewed 2 charm squares together. And here I did all the white, and then I did a white with a print. And I did the same thing in the next stack of 2s, but I started sewing white prints together, prints with the white. And then as I went along, as you can see, we go further, there's a white very rarely as you get toward the bottom rows. I put them in stacks of 5 so that I could sew those 5 together to get a row of 10. Then I put them in the order that I thought that I would want them in. Now I said I wasn't going to use a design wall because, you know, I don't have a design wall, but I have a bed and it can act like a design wall. So let me show you where I am laying out my rows. Here are my first 2 rows. You probably can't see them because they, you know, kind of merge in with the color of the top of the bed. But this is where I'm going to lay out all my rows. All right, I cleared off some of the bed so that this is a bigger design area. And I have 3 rows. All right, 3 rows down. 9, 10, 11, 12 to go. Another great thing about this quilt is not only is it quick and easy, but you can work on nesting your seams. Nothing is going to happen if your seams aren't nested perfectly, but this is the perfect opportunity to work on it. So here I've matched the top, and you can see right here that I can perfectly nest my seams. Now, I could push it this way, but the fabric is kind of almost doing it for me. So I'm going to push it this way. And nesting your seams means you can see where one side your seam is folded over one way, and on the other side your seam is folded the opposite way. And then you nest these 2 seams together and you get a perfect intersection. And there are lots of places in this quilt, like every 5 inches, that you are going to be nesting your seams together. So let me see if I can get there. Okay, it's already pushed back. So I will show you how I do it. So here, this first one's already nested. So I'm just going to sew. Making sure that my needle is through the nested seam. Now I nest on the fly. So here, this particular seam is wanting to fold forward. And luckily enough, my back seam wants to fold back. So I just nest these together, make sure this edge is straight, and go. And I'm going to continue doing this. Now, even if your seam isn't perfectly at 1/4 of an inch, unless you're way off, you are going to be able to nest your seams. See how I did. So here you can tell it's a little off. Not a lot off, but a little off. And that's okay. Like I said, this is practice. This one is, well, it's pretty far off. So it's not going to be perfect every time. Now this one, pretty well spot on. And honestly, spot on. By the time you get done with this quilt, you will know which seams aren't matching perfectly, even before you look at them, because the last seam, the one where it wasn't perfect, like was quite a ways off, and quite a ways off is not a lot. This one right here, I should have nested the other way, because when I tried to nest the way I did, I could feel that it wasn't, you know, just right. But it doesn't matter. No one is going to notice that. And if they do, well, they're not quilt worthy. I am back from vacation, and this is what I got done while I was there. So I've sewn all of my 5-inch charm squares together. I'm just obsessed with this falling charms thing because, I don't know, I just like it. So you can see the white's on the top, and it's mostly filled in at the bottom. There's a white space here and there, but I think it's so cute. Just love this Reindeer Games pattern. Now I want to put a border around it. So I found a couple pieces of fabric in my stash. I didn't really have the fabric that I had in my mind, or if I do have it, I haven't found it yet, but these were close. I do believe that I will want to put a solid border around the outside before I add these. So this is one of them. I'm thinking because I have chosen what is mostly red, I will want a green to go around the falling charms. And then there's this. Now I really like this, and it goes really well with the colors. This red is very similar to that red. So I like that. Then I pulled out another one. This one I think too is mainly red, but it does have a little bit more green probably. Now this has parts of red maybe. I don't know. It doesn't really match as well as I would like for it to. So I believe I have picked the outer border. So that is this one right here. Now I need to find a green that I like to go all the way around, and it really needs to match because it's going to be right next to these greens down here. Let me see what I have in my stash. Okay, I don't think this one's gonna do it. No, I think it's just too dark. This one is too pea green. This, definitely not. This one, I'm afraid, is also going to be too dark. This has a pattern to it, probably more of a pattern than I really wanted. This one has, again, a yellow hue. I'm not loving this one either. They're not what I want. So let me go look some more. Who knew green would be so hard to match? Okay, I'm back to this guy. And I don't like him either. I like somewhere in between these two. I'm gonna keep looking. I just found a few. So this is kind of a yellow green, and it's got some sparkly. It's even got some dark green in it. And I just kind of peeked and happened to find that. I don't know. Now, I thought maybe a candy cane. I don't have much of this. This might end up being a binding. This is a really pretty green. I like it, but it's got that pattern, and I don't really want a pattern. And then I just randomly grabbed some greens. So I think we're back to the white. I have a giant thing of white because I have something that will make someday. This is plain white. You know, I think this is actually white for sublimation, but it seems to match the best. Okay. So far, who would have thought? I've been using more white lately. I don't know why, but I have been. All right, so far white looks like it is the one. And then when I put the white and the red, it's gonna look great. I am going to cut a 2.5 inch strip of this white and put it all the way around. And then I am probably, let's see if I have a yard of this. I think I have a yard of this. So I'll probably figure out what size strips I can use in order to use this whole thing. So I assume, and I assume on the lower end, that from selvage to selvage, there goes my thing, I've got 40 inches. Okay, because I'm going to cut my border this way. So it doesn't matter how wide right now, I'm just going to cut my border this way. So that means from here to here, from here to here, when I cut, that's 40 inches. I make that assumption. Yes, it might be 45, it might be 44, it might be 42, it might be 38. But normally fabric is going to be 43, 44, 45 inches wide from selvage to selvage. So I calculate on the low end. So I am going to take my 208 inches, because I need 208 inches of fabric all the way around, and I'm going to divide it by 40. So that tells me how many strips of fabric I need. And this is actually for the white border. I'll have to recalculate once I add the white border for the plaid. So it says 5.2 strips of fabric. Now, it doesn't matter if it's 10 inches wide or 2 inches wide. I need 5.2 strips. I can make them whatever width I want. I round up, so I'm going to round that up to 6. So I'm going to need to cut 6 strips of this fabric by width of fabric. And I have decided that I'm going to do 2.5 inches. So I need 6 2.5 inch strips from this white fabric. That will get me through my border going around. Then let me go put the white border on, and then we will calculate how much of the plaid, and I'll show you how I decide the width instead of just saying, okay, I'm doing 2.5, because, you know, I could do whatever border width I wanted on this. But because I am limited to the amount of fabric that I have for my outer border, I have to do that calculation, but then I have to do one more calculation so that I don't come up short at, you know, when I have this much left to go of the outer border. I used 5 2.5 inch strips to go all the way around this quilt. I did have this left over. I had this and then a strip left over. So I just have to figure out what width my strips are going to be. So this is, we're going to just say 36 inches because it's a yard, right? Okay. I know that this is 50.5 inches. Now I need to measure this. How wide these are going to be, how wide this border is going to be, will also come into play. So I will measure from here. Okay, 59 inches. So I'm going to assume both sides are 59 inches. So we have 50.5 and 59. So calculator. So 50.5 plus 50.5 plus 59 plus 59. That's 219 inches. So I'm going to divide that by 40 because I'm going to assume that from selvage to selvage is at least 40 inches. I have 5.475. I'm going to round that up to 6. Now, I have 36 inches. How many inches can my strips be if I need 6 inches and I have 36 inches? 36 divided by 6 is 6, right? 6 times 6, 36. Yeah, 'cause 6 times 7 is 42. 6 is a little wide. I don't really want my borders to be 6 inches wide. I think I'm going to go with 5. So since I'm going with a smaller number, I don't even have to worry about the fact that I'm going to be adding 9.5 inches to each side, because I can always get an extra strip out of this if I need to. I'm going to cut 6 strips of this at 5 inches. And then I'm going to add them each side first and then the top and the bottom, and we will have a Christmas quilt top. My quilt top is complete. What do you think? I think this is my new favorite Christmas quilt. I love how there's the white at the top and kind of the appearance that these blocks or these charm squares are kind of falling down like, you know, snow. And then I'm really pleased with the white border. It just kind of breaks up all of this, and then, you know, it's kind of a plaid, but not a plaid, and it's not perfect. Like, the lines aren't perfect. It's not paint splatter, but it's close. It's very rustic, grungy. It's not grungy, but it's not that full line. I like that kind of thing. I don't know why. And the colors just match really well with the colors that are in this. Reindeer games. Love that. Love it. If you want to see it finished, please subscribe and click the bell so that you will be notified when this comes out. And I am going to Ireland in September. It will be the trip of a lifetime. If you are interested in going on the trip of a lifetime with me, please check the description box below. There will be a link, and it will give you all the information that you need to know about the trip. If you have any questions, I have an email address in my description box. Please feel free to email me and ask me any question that you may have. I am having a retreat with my friends Di from the Sister Chicks channel and Tracy from the Sewing channel, and it is called the 3 Quilt Amigas Retreat. That is at the end of April, beginning of May. That information will also be in the description below, and I would love the opportunity to meet you all. So check it out if you would like to go to Hamilton, Missouri and do some quilting, meet some new quilty friends, maybe gather with some older quilting friends and eat and quilt and just win stuff and have all kinds of fun. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Eat some chocolate and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye.